Hello, multi-dimensional beings of infinite light and love. I'm Ishwa Bodhi. I'm here with my brother, Michael Bodhi.
Hello.
So, we were going to talk about the UFO experience. And many people around the world have sightings and interactions with these unidentified flying objects. And many believe that they are aliens or other dimensional beings, and that they've been interacting with humans for thousands of years. So that's what this one will be about. So this is about the UFO experience. This is about exploring the depths of your consciousness. This is Mystic Metamorphosis. So, Michael, I understand that you had a UFO experience or two. Would you like to share that with me?
Yep. Okay, so the first experience that's probably most still etched in my mind was when I saw the flying blue orb. And the thing that makes that crazy was I wasn't by myself. So when you've witnessed something with somebody,
Yeah.
they 100% validate it. So if you think you're
definitely.
crazy,
Yes.
that changes everything right there.
Mm-hmm.
That you go back and forth. I've known him for years and years. So back when we were 14, in just a setting, our house was on a half an acre of property.
Yeah.
All the houses are far spread apart, and we're kind of on a hill, and it's all open sky. There's nothing blocking any view of anything. There wasn't even trees around the house. It was just open field.
Yep. I remember that, how it used to be.
Yeah.
Now there's all trees there.
So I had a sleepover when I was 14 with my friend Steve, and we were watching a movie, and it was like back in the day with VHS. We're watching a rental movie, and we're sitting on the couch. Everybody's like asleep in the house already. It's like 10:30. I guess it was a Friday or something. I don't know, but everyone was home, but everyone was like kind of in bed or just somewhere else in the house. It was late. Maybe it was even later at night. But we're watching this movie, and while we're watching the movie, we thought there was like blue lights in the movie because it looked like the room was turning blue.
Okay.
And it's kind of like a basement, ground level floor.
Yeah.
And there's these small windows in the front of the house, and we're kind of sitting in the back. And we start seeing the lights going past because we were trying to investigate what the blue lights are. We turned off the TV and still saw the blue lights.
Yeah.
So we're like, why is the room turning blue? And it's almost like flashing, not really police lights, but like as if someone had like a blue spotlight in the room.
Okay.
Like it was scanning the
Like
room.
scanning, like it was
exactly. We were probably watching even Terminator or something where even that made sense. We're like, well, that's what this is. What
Yeah.
else is going on here? And we look out the front windows, those smaller windows, and there was immense blue light, like almost blinding blue light, shooting through the window.
And could you see anything, or you just saw?
No,
light?
it was just blue light. Like we were almost
Okay.
blinded. Like what the hell?
Yeah.
Like someone had headlights, but they were bright blue.
Okay. Just there, like, kind of.
Just shooting through the window.
Okay.
Like it was crazy, almost like a beam.
Wow.
And we're both standing there like, what the hell? So as we got
wild.
closer and we pressed our faces against the window to kind
Yeah.
of like try to see out,
Yeah.
like what is that? it disappears immediately. Like it looked like it went up.
Yeah.
Like, so whatever, it was like if I had a flashlight and I was shining it through a window and I went like this, that's kind of what it looked like.
Okay.
So we immediately go outside. And start looking around the front yard and everything. And we're like, what the heck was that? And we're like looking around like the perimeter of the house, and we're kind of standing in front of the house.
Yeah.
And above the house is a blue orb, a glowing blue orb.
Okay.
I don't really know the size, maybe like a beach ball?
Wow.
Like
so
a
you saw,
beach ball.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the size in comparison.
And
just
it was
trying
above
to remember.
the house.
It was above the house. It might have been smaller,
Okay.
but it was definitely bigger than a basketball.
Yeah.
And it was like a blue orb
Just floating.
floating above the house. But like, it was like 20-something feet above
Okay.
the house. Like, it was like way above the house, but it was right over the house.
Yeah.
And we're like, what the hell? So we
That's
see
wild.
it, and
Yeah.
then slowly it starts going behind the house.
Okay.
But you know how it's a hill?
Yeah.
So it looked like it disappeared. Like, as we're watching it, it disappeared behind the house.
Yeah.
So we ran around the house, and being kids, we were like 14. We like ran full speed, like, what the hell? And kind of like tried to chase it.
Okay.
So we start chasing the blue light, and it's almost like it saw us, because as soon as we started getting close, it started moving really fast. And then it kind of went straight out, and then it did like a curve. Like it was like a straight 90-degree up.
And just like.
Yeah, like it was
shot
going
up.
straight and then just shot straight up. Like
Wow.
maybe there was like a pond maybe a half a mile from the house.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah, I
right
remember the
above,
pond.
so maybe it got about a half a mile away from the house into the yard, and then shot up at this pond about 90 degrees, and it just disappeared. And it's nighttime.
Yeah.
So this thing's glowing. It's a glowing blue ball at night. And then we
That's
couldn't believe it.
mind-blowing.
We told our friends at school. No one
Yeah.
remember, we're 14.
And then
Everyone's
people
like,
don't
yeah, right.
believe you, right?
But we both swore by it.
Yeah.
And even this day, if I called him up right now and said, do you remember that? He goes, 100% that happened.
Yeah.
And I bet you, like, even his wife and kid would think he was crazy if he started talking about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how.
But that's
That
the
was
thing
one
about
experience.
those types of experiences, like.
But I remember it vividly because it was so unusual.
Yeah.
Like, if
so-
it was
it's
something.
Like surreal. Surreal
Yeah.
is the word.
So if it was something common, I don't know if I would remember it as vividly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was that it was so weird and such something that's unidentified, or something that really didn't have a name for other than a blue orb.
Yeah.
And even when you explain that to people, it doesn't really sound like anything.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean a blue orb?
Did you feel that it was like conscious, that orb, or that it was,
It was intelligent.
or maybe
I
it was
feel
more
like it
something
sensed
like a
it.
probe or something for some other maybe UFO spacecraft or anything? Like, did you ever think about those types of things after you had the experience?
Oh, what I thought it was?
Yeah. Like, what did you feel?
I didn't picture that it's like alien life forms inside this blue
Yeah.
ball. That's not what I thought.
Yeah.
But based on sci-fi movies and stuff like that and stuff I've seen, I would say it was some kind of probe.
Yeah.
Like, you would send a probe down before you would go down.
Yeah.
Like, kind of like how we send probes down in the ocean
Yeah.
with cameras to kind of see what's down there.
That makes sense, though.
That
Even the fact that you said how it was scanning.
it was
like it was
totally
like a-
scanning.
like it was,
it
like,
was a
scanning.
blue light scanning the whole room. And then at first we thought it was the TV, and then I'm like, you see this? And he's like, yeah. We turned off the TV. We saw it was coming out of the window. Like, literally shooting a beam into our window in our
To the
house.
window. Yeah.
It's crazy. And I always thought it was going to come back. All these years went by. I lived there till I was
Yeah.
almost an adult, like till I was like 20. And it never came back.
Yeah.
And if it did, I didn't see it. I always thought, like, I'd be down in that room watching TV late at night.
Yeah.
And I'd, like, look over and be like, I wonder if that blue light's going to, like, pop up one day. Like, is it something that came back, or was it just a
Yeah.
freak random thing?
Yeah.
You know? But, yeah, that would be my opinion, is it was some kind of technology probe, scanning and kind of seeing what's going on. And if you think about it, if the whole house was asleep, those things can be scanning inside your house and you wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
And it's using some kind of light. So also, like, if you look up about blue light, it's interesting
Yeah.
that maybe the technology was embedded in the light, like some kind of light technology. Those are things
Yeah.
I thought about.
Yeah.
Like, that makes sense, you know?
Yeah, that does make sense.
And then even, maybe it wasn't even a solid. So here, I'll go even further. So I've broke it down to where I'm like, it didn't look solid. It almost looked not transparent, but translucent.
Yeah. Translucent, like you see through it.
You see through it, but the light was like, had different levels of intensity.
Okay, within the orb.
All the, like as I think about it, it wasn't just one solid color blue. No, it was like almost emitting light, like a translucent kind of bulb or something.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, it's strange, right? But
yeah, the whole thing is strange.
But I'm thinking some kind of light technology is what even it holds its mass and holds itself together.
Yeah.
Being just some kind of light.
And if you think about it, if it's a type of being or intelligence behind it that is coming here, it would make sense that they would use some sort of technology like that. Right?
Yeah, it does.
That makes sense to me. Especially if they're able to travel through universes or dimensions or portals or whatever they may use, these other intelligences.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you want to choose to call it.
Yeah. And now I've seen orbs across the street in the same area.
Yeah.
A totally different time, years later.
Really?
Yeah, like 20 years later, I saw something falling from the sky, which it turned out like meteorites fall out of the sky, and they have like almost a fire trail behind them.
Yeah.
So I saw that, and while I'm seeing it in the sky, I go inside and I Google it on the computer.
Yeah.
I'm like, is stuff on fire supposed to fall out of the sky? And they're like, oh, meteorites fall out of the sky all the time. Or debris, space debris, they call it.
Yeah.
And it'll have like a fire tail like that because it breaks the atmosphere and there's friction. And because of the density, it causes it to flame like that. So it's like, that makes sense. And it's not in space anymore, so it has the fire because of the oxygen.
Yeah.
All that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So I go out and I'm looking at it, and I see it crashes right by our house. It was literally coming at our house. And it crashes across the street, maybe a quarter mile down the street, across the street. And it was all this open, like, field. It was property owned by that rich family back there.
Yeah.
So it was just open lands that they have.
Yes.
And, there's trees and bushes and stuff, but you can plainly see from the top of the hill.
But I think that night you saw that is when I saw what I saw, like that same night.
Yeah,
so it was the same night.
I think it was.
Yeah.
There was some activity. Something was going on crazy.
Activity was going on in that area.
Especially above where
our parents live.
Yeah, which is really crazy. So I go over to look, and I'm like, oh, everything's on fire. It looked like a circle brush fire.
Yeah.
Was happening. And I'm like, that's where I could see the impact. I couldn't get to it because I was like on a hill.
Yeah.
Like there was all kinds of trees in the way and all kinds of brush, but everything in this one circle area was on fire, and I could see the smoke burrowing up and everything.
Yeah.
And there was a couple other like little circles of stuff that hit like around it. So I'm like, wow, this hit this close to the house?
Yeah.
It blew my mind that something hit the house, could have hit the house. It was that close, and it fell out of the sky.
And then you explained it to anyone, and they just...
So I went back to the house, and I'm telling everybody that, oh man, something just crashed in the woods really close to the house.
Yeah.
You got to come see this. And I was trying to get people to come see it because this is something I saw by myself.
I think I came with you, though.
Yeah.
Because I believe you, because I know that sort of thing can happen.
Well, I went back to the site.
Yeah.
And there were 3 clear orbs floating and circling in like a strange motion above it.
Holy cow. Yeah, I didn't see that.
That's when I went back. So I tried to tell everybody. I walked back and I saw 3. They looked like white or like kind of reflective almost orbs as well.
Yeah.
And they were like doing some kind of like configuration, moving around the smoke, the fire, all the stuff.
Yeah.
That was there. And then at this point I was completely freaked out. And I'm like, why is there orbs around where I live? Why is stuff falling out of the sky?
Again, those could have been probes of, those beings or intelligences, like, you know,
Yeah.
extraterrestrial.
Well, other people saw that because there was something about something crashing.
Yeah.
That was in the paper. Other people saw it. I don't know if the person
You
reported
weren't the
it.
only one who saw it.
Yeah, so I know that. I don't know about the orbs, but people did see the stuff falling out of the sky. Whatever it is, space debris, a meteorite, I don't know.
Yes, so I guess it was after the experience you had. It was like that night, I don't know, we might have had some sort of fight or something. I remember I had left the house. And I remember I went down to, like, there was the cul-de-sac that was near where our parents' house was. Yeah. So I remember I went down there and I was with my girlfriend at the time. And we were both just sitting in my car. I think I was sitting, or maybe it was in her car. And I was sitting in the passenger seat. And I remember we were just sitting out there, and it must have been like 2 a.m. It was like really late, you know? And I remember we're both sitting there, and I remember looking up, and I was pointing out the Pleiades star system. I was like pointing to her, and I was like, "Oh, see, that's the Pleiades star system." And she like kind of like leaned over me, like I'm sitting in the passenger seat. She leaned over me, and we were both looking up. And as we were both looking up at, like, it was one of those nights where like there were like gray clouds, but there was like there were gaps in the clouds, and like the moon was super bright, and everything was like lit by the moon. So like you could see because of the brightness of the moon, you know? So like as we're looking up, there this thing just glides out from one of the gray clouds. And it was very close, like really close to the houses, I felt, because there were all houses in the cul-de-sac. And like I remember it was like above the trees. So it was just like slightly above the trees. But it was close enough that I could see it. And it came kind of like out of the cloud, and it was like gray as the color of the clouds, and it was like a crescent-shaped craft, right? That was probably the size, it was like this, bigger than a car. It was pretty big, actually, I think. And I remember, as I recollect, I remember it being like, it was like a crescent. And it was gray, but I could like look at it, and I could see like panels on it. And I could see, and she was looking at it too, my girlfriend. We're both looking at it, and I'm like, what is that? I was like, what the hell is that? So the both of us like get out of the car. And I'm just like staring at this thing. So this unidentified flying object, because that's what it was silent. It didn't make any sounds. So it was just kind of like silently gliding. And it was like camouflaged to look like the clouds. Like it was the same color as the gray clouds.
Can you see panels on it?
Yeah, but I could make out, I was so close to it, and because of the moonlight, I could see like details in it. And I remember it didn't emit any light, though. There was no lights coming off of it and no sound coming from it. So it did not look like anything that I've ever seen on Earth. So, you know, of course I think it's something that's alien or something from another world or dimension, unless it's some secretive thing that the government has that we don't know about. I don't know what it was. I just know I didn't know what it was, and it definitely didn't seem like it seemed otherworldly in some sense to me. And I'm looking at it, and I'm just like staring at it, and I'm like kind of like mesmerized by it. So I'm like kind of like walking down the road by the cul-de-sac, and I'm just like following it, like staring at it. And I remember my girlfriend at the time, she was super freaked out. Like she was like just staring at it, just completely silent. And we were both like just completely silent, like in awe of what we were looking at. And then it just kind of like glided. It just was just gliding, and then just glided into a cloud, and it was just like gone. And I was like, let's get out of here. We were both like, let's get out of here. Because actually she was like really freaked out, but I got a little freaked out too. I was like, yeah, let's get out of here. You know, we just kind of wanted to leave that area. And it was weird. I felt like when I was looking at it, it was aware that I was looking at it. It was just a feeling I had. Whatever it was, whether there was some sort of aliens or beings in it, I don't know, but I just felt that way. And then I remember like afterwards, like, I remember, so then we left the area, and then, like, I always would tell people about it, and my girlfriend would never, like, back me up, or my girlfriend at the time, she would never back me up when I would talk about it, so then I just looked like a crazy guy, but we both saw it. But I think, that kind of thing can make people uncomfortable to talk about sometimes.
But some people, just because you're seeing it with your eyes doesn't mean you accept it with your mind.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
So believing is one thing, but I always believed in that stuff, even when I was younger.
Yeah.
So, like, if I saw something like that, it's not like it's unidentified to me. I'm like, oh, I've seen everything from every movie, comic, video game.
Yeah.
So to say I don't know what it is crazy.
Yeah.
People that say that, they're just in denial. The honest truth is that's in our culture. So if I see that, I did identify it. I'm like, oh, that's a flying orb. It's probably a probe.
Now it's out in the open nowadays.
Mm-hmm. But back then, people still couldn't admit it like they can now.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a fear about it because there's a fear of the unknown. So that makes sense as well. And I remember I kind of got a little uncomfortable too. Like, even sometimes I'd be outside at night and I'd be like looking up, like, who's above me, like, But it's definitely a real phenomenon, and it's definitely something that's being shared by many people all over the world, And I think that people should share their experiences, and that sort of thing, because then maybe people can have a vaster or a better grasp or understanding about what's going on with this phenomenon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And anything else that you wanted to say, or?
No, those are my UFO stories.
Yeah.
They were both orbs, which is interesting.
That is interesting. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you know how people see those cylindrical things? They call them like Tic Tacs.
Yeah.
That's like a real common phenomenon.
Yeah.
There's tons of like pictures and videos of that out there. But back then, this is like 1994 when I saw that blue orb.
Yeah.
There was no phones. The only kind of cameras were like full camcorders with like a cassette. We would have had to get all this stuff ready.
Yeah.
We weren't like ready like now. Like if I had seen that now, I would have been videotaping it immediately.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is, I feel that thing would have been aware that we were trying to.
Yeah.
Like it knew we didn't have any electronics on us, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I feel like that thing knew. Like there was something to that.
I think at the time that I saw that UFO, I had like a flip phone, but I don't even think I was even thinking about that. I was kind of like in a mesmerized state of mind.
Yeah, but that would be my first instinct today, because I'd be like, oh, people wouldn't believe this.
Yeah.
It's like if a Bigfoot right now came out here, I'd grab my phone real quick. We're lucky we're videotaping it,
Yeah.
But yeah.
But definitely people all throughout the world are definitely catching UFOs on video. I think it's more and more often now.
Yeah, but people fake them too, so that kind of takes away.
That's true. There are fakes out there as well.
It's probably like a percentage of them.
Yeah. But yeah, so this is the UFO experience, It's happening. They are here.
Yes.
Well, thanks for sharing with me.
Yep.
Bro.
Of course.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, bro.
Infinite blessings of light and love to all of you. Thanks for joining us. Peace, everybody.